The Bernardis had a statue-making business in Paul Street in Cork. He inherited the business from his father, who was Italian, you know. But the man I worked for then, like his mother was Irish, you know, but his father was Italian. And he was only about 18, I think, when his father died. And he carried on the business then for himself. They spoke Italian, you know, and broken English. And I used to be often passing there, and I'd see all the statues now, the Child of Plagues out in the wind, and the stations, the cross and everything, and I was fascinated with them. So one day I went in, I was on holidays from school, from the Northmont, and I went in, I asked him for a job, you know, and he said no. So I went home and I was a bit disappointed because I loved to get at the business there. I just loved the modelling in clay. I loved making up faces and things like that. During the war, when my mother would get a bag of turf, there was no coal now for the fires and only turf that's all we had. And I'd always pick out the black sods, the hard sods of turf. And with a Stanley knife then, or with a knife, I'd peer out the little cottages and things like that. And I remember I tried to make De Valera and Mussolini and Churchill and all that time of the war. And I had a good few of them and I put them into a paper bag. And the next following Tuesday, I went way down and I looked in the window and there was Mr. Bernardi inside. And I went in and I showed him what I was after doing. And says he, did you do them yourself? I said I did. And he was looking at me for a while. He says, see, I'm going down to the country now on a job, he says, but I'll be back in a couple of days. He says, he called down maybe today after tomorrow. So when I went down. He was a man of very few words. When I went in, he said, look, follow me now. So we went out the door on Paul Street. We went down Paul Street, down Brown Street. Well, Brown Street is not there anymore now. And we had a big store down in Brown Street. So up the stairs we went, and there was two men there. I see two men. There were two Italians. A fellow by the name of Dominic Mazzotti and a fellow by the name of Lucchese. So he just said to them, this chap here, Maurice O'Donnell is his name, he's starting here now. So that was the start of my the business. That was on the 10th of April, 1944. We started with 10 shillings a week. That's the old 10 shillings, you know. And I went to the School of Art then at night time. And, well, there was much money in it at the time, you know. And of course, that was back in 1944, and like the wages, even the hourly wages in Cork was very little. It was all around £4 or £5 a week. I remember one time there we got a big job from Kilkenny. It was a Bishop Moulding. He was Bishop of Leinster in the 9th century. We just got a sketch of him, so we built up the big lot of clay and made a life-size statue of him, you know, just copying from the sketch. You know, he was just holding the mitre in his hand and the staff then in the other hand. But I just loved it, you know. Every job I did, I tried to do it as good as I could, you know, and I'd never leave a job unless I thought it was perfect. You know. You get satisfaction out of seeing a good job done and finished properly, and you have a satisfied customer. You'll get a kick out of that then. Somebody come in, they said it's lovely, and they're happy with it. You know, you get satisfaction out of that. Like out of any job, you know. And I made a lot of them around the country, and the one in Glanmire, in the grotto in Glanmire. And well, lately then I did St. Teresa up in the North Cathedral. And yeah, they went everywhere. I sent them out to New Guinea. I sent a cavalry set out, 2 cavalry sets out to New Guinea, out to Rabaul, New Britain, New Guinea. I sent stuff out to Cape Town and the West Indies, you know. I forget now, they went everywhere. Well, I made the one in Ballinspittle now, like, and when the statue was, they were saying that it was moving in Ballinspittle.
It was the Feast of the Assumption, and the crowds flooded into the tiny County Cork village of Ballinspittle last night in the expectation, or perhaps the hope, of a special event at the grotto in which they say a miracle happens every day of the week. The statue moves. Special buses travelled from all over the country, swelling the crowd to a record 20,000 or so. But for weeks now, crowds of 8,000 and 10,000 have been coming to the shrine since a group of local ladies say they saw the statue move, and the word spread like wildfire. And now even the most hard-bitten cynics say they see movement, usually at night, but now by day as well.
I have seen things since something after with the lights on, but what is, I'm not definite. But it was all broad daylight, so I can't explain it.
And do you regard it as a miracle?
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou
Well, I don't know,
among
but
women, and
all I'd say about it is
that
there's something happening anyway.
But did you feel religiously moved when it was happening?
Full of grace, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou among women.
Well, I suppose I prayed a bit more, all right, you know, but I don't know.
Has the experience affected you?
Not really, only this, when I see it moving, I walk away from it.
Why?
I don't know, I mean, I know it's a chalk model, you know, and if you were walking down the road and the pillar just got up and started moving around, you know, similar reaction, like, you know.
Over the last several weeks, the sick, the curious and the devout have flooded in, while the church has appealed to its people to exercise caution and prudence in its attitude to the statue, possibly mindful that this is at least the 3rd statue in the south of the country which is supposed to have moved in recent months.
It was the talk of the place, and there was reporters came from England and from the continent and everywhere when they heard about the moving statue. You know.
Well, my first experience was that I thought I saw the statue becoming alive, you know, that Our Lady was really present there, and this was in the daylight. And then a few evenings after that I saw the face of the Sacred Heart, and so did my mother at the same time. But we didn't say anything to each other, and it was during this one particular rosary. When the rosary was over, I said to the fellow next to me that I saw the face of the Sacred Heart. So my mother said to me, "Did you see that as well, you know?"
I believed before I came, but I'm afraid my boyfriend didn't. I was praying on the way down that he'd see it instead of me, but unfortunately I saw it. You know, I would have preferred to have him see it because he didn't believe, he was sceptical about it, you know. So.
And what do you think is the explanation?
I just think it's supernatural.
A miracle, eh?
Yeah, without a doubt.
A local committee has itself cleared a hillside opposite the shrine so the crowds can see and pray. And they're determined, they say, that there will be no commercialism, not a burger joint or a religious picture stand to be seen at the shrine, though a few have gotten into the nearby village. And they've little time here for scientific or logical explanations of optical illusions or tricks of light.
It happened on a Monday night. I didn't get up here until Wednesday because I didn't believe it. But I came and I saw what I saw. I mean, I wouldn't dream of forcing my beliefs on anybody, but I saw what I saw.
We didn't look for this. This was perennial and in a short time. But it has changed the appearance of our countryside completely.
In what way?
It will never be the same Ballinspittle again.
Star of the sea, pray for the star.
I didn't go down at all, but next day I heard that somebody was after smashing the face from it and the hands and all the draperies. So the committee came up to me and asked me, could I come down to repair it? I said I couldn't, but I asked them to bring it up to my store here. I'm in Court Street now. And they brought it up and I repaired it. And The face was completely the model on a new face and model up to the pair of hands, which was, I was terribly anxious about it at the time. One day I was chiseling the face away, trying to get a grip on the face, and I was chiseling and chiseling. I had all the bits and pieces all around the place, and there was a lot of nuns came in. I had to have 2 security fellas here to keep people out. And well, they let in the nuns, and then the nuns cleaned up all the floor. They took every piece of the statue that I was after chipping from the statue, you know. And I remember they going out the yard. All their uniform was full of dust and everything. Seamus used to call often into me when I was in Paul Street. You know, he'd just come in for a chat and everything, and he'd be watching what I'd be making, you know. He was a very nice man. I often had a pint with him out in the stage door in Levelski, you know. That pub was gone now too. He'd come in for he'd say, give me a couple of fists of plaster, and he'd go away with half the bag. Terribly likeable man, he was. He was very jolly, and he loved his work. He loved his work. He was really dedicated to his work, you know. He lived for it. His whole soul was in his work. I just said, no, for a little taking away the roughness. Well, this is Our Lady of Lourdes now. This is cast in reinforced concrete, you know, it is. Well, I made one just like that now that went down to Montmilry for Father Celestine in Montmilry. He ordered it in '83. Of course, there was supposed to be a lot going on down there too. There was a lot of people came down from the time of the trouble there. They came down from Belfast and bus loads because there was children supposed to have spoke to the Our Lady down in Montmilry. So it was just a statue just like that. Years ago, Dominic Mazzotti and myself, we modelled that up in clay, and we made a mould of it. We copied it from sketch now and things like that, and we used our own imagination. You'd know what Our Lady of Lourdes looked like, you know. So we made that, and it was the right size, a nice size. So we made a mould of it then, and I'm casting them since. I never put my name on anything, you know. I didn't let it speak for itself, you know. Yeah. Somebody'd say, who made that? And they say, Maurice O'Donnell there in Cork when I was in Paul Street. It sold itself, you know, more or less. I never put my name to anything. People often said to me, why didn't I? But you'll be known after a while. But I really enjoyed working with him, you know. In fact, there was a Dominic Mazzotti there. He was like a second father to me. he showed me everything about making molds and things like that, you know, which he was a terribly nice man. And Luke Hasey the same, they were gentlemen, you know. We got on marvellous. You know. But I was more interested in the modelling then, and I advanced a little bit more than they did at that line, you know. So. And in 1962, I took over the business, you know, and I walked away on my own then since. The business is not like what it used to be before. I mean, long ago, we were very busy, but statues are gone out now. When the council in Rome that time, they were trying to bring the Protestant Catholic Church, I assume, together. And so they threw a lot of statues out of the churches. They did. That was in the 60s. I did cornice and centerpieces when the statues started slowing down. You know, the cornice and the ceiling roses for the ceiling. And I made frames and mirrors, you know. I'd buy the mirror and I'd copy it from Chippendale, you know, and Georgian design. I used to sell, they were a good go. I used to sell a good few of them. Well, they kept me going anyway, you know. Just made a living out of them, just about. They're not interested in statues now as much as they used long ago. I mean, the young people are not interested. All the customers that I have now, anybody that come in now to be a repair or repaint the statue, they're all usually over 50 years of age. Yeah. So the young people today are not interested in statues. When I look back now, like I was just thinking the other day, I'm 65 years at the business. That's a long time. So up to April, to the 10th of April 1944 I started. And like 10th of April up to this year now is 65 years. I don't think I'll ever retire. I keep going on and I collapse. Well, I'm living on my own, and I'm only doing 4 hours in the morning now. I start at 8 o'clock and up to 11:45 or so, you know, then I pack up. I mean, it's just an interest to get out of the house, you know, just be doing something. I think I'm the last of the statue makers. There was 3 statue makers in Dublin. There was one in Limerick, a fellow by the name of Boosley, and there was Bernardi's and in Cork, you know. And that was it. Myself, like I worked for the Bernardi's all the years, and I carried on from them, you know. So that was the end. I don't think there'll be any more statue makers after me. This is the first time and the last of the Mohicans. I'm 81 now, and I'm out of work now for 5 months. I worked up to 5 months, and I'm going into the hospital now for an operation. You know, so I hope that's straight me out so that I could go back to work.
He absolutely adored his job. I never saw anybody, even when I used to give out to him about he couldn't go on holidays, he'd be saying. He had the little cottage all right now, but he couldn't go on holidays, and I used to say to him, Maurice, everybody's entitled to a holiday, you have to be able to go somewhere. You ever know, he said such a thing, he'd be bringing up some excuse. But he just didn't, he wasn't that pushed, you know. He loved he loved the statues, and he loved all the camaraderie about the whole lot of it, like. So that was his life.